everybody. Name's Kyle Mazuchin, Vice President for the domestic markets here for American Mortgages. Hopefully you're doing well on this wonderful Thursday evening and Friday, wherever you are around the world joining us. And today we're here to talk about some Canadian tax overhaul and strategic moves for U.S. investments. So just a little bit of content for today. We're here to review probably a little bit from our last webinar we did in February, and a little bit about myself, the presenter, being here with American Mortgages here since August 2023. It's been a wonderful ride thus far. And then why the US versus Canada? There are lots of domestic trends that have really turned the tide in terms of having Canadians invest into American real estate. Also, some underlying statistics as to immigration trends with that piece. So we want to make sure that there are some pieces of data that are supporting why there is going to be strategic investments from Canadians investing to the US. And then probably one of the biggest pieces of the 2024 tax here in Canada has been the Canadian tax changes. The Canadian gains inclusion has gone up, and then which US state is good for me and what to do with your capital. So why American Mortgages? 100% of our clients are working abroad. So we want to make sure that there's relative ease in having American-based access from anywhere around the world, inclusive of Canada naturally being close to the border. We only focus on foreign nationals and US expats. We have representation in 12 different countries. Make sure that whatever language that you speak, we have that availability for you. Speaking of languages, we have 7 different kinds and also understand cultural nuances. And then also we have all loans don't have requirement for US credit, which is fantastic. Also, we can have closing document signing without travel to the US, common sense underwriting, which is probably one of our main focuses here at American Mortgages, making sure that the process is very easy and simple to understand. There's no age limit or restrictions in getting any sort of US-based investments. And then interest-only servicing facility, so in order to keep your rental yield high. Longest amortization schedule that we can have is 40 years. Then loans in all 50 states. So you have 50 different options in whatever state that you want to invest in. We have transparent fee and processing. And then also 24/7 access to myself or any of my colleagues around the world. So if you want to have a 4 a.m. coffee and want to speak mortgage to somebody, go to our website, www.americanmortgages.com. So a little bit about myself. Been in financial services probably just a little bit over 10 years in different capacities, specializing in mortgage origination, providing solutions for all different types of customers and investors, whether it's in Canada or the United States. My previous leadership experience was a senior leader at the Bank of Montreal, managing over a team of 25, based on beautiful Vancouver Island with my family, 2 children, and a wonderful spouse. So why invest in Canada versus the United States? So larger, bigger, better, a more diversified economy. Global influence and innovation. Obviously, when we're talking about any sort of R&D, we really look to the United States for being a leader in that area. Lower taxes, and also a favorable tax treaty. Stronger currency, obviously, a lot of different countries hold it as a reserve currency, and it has the reserve currency status in many different countries around the world. Probably one of the most interesting topics here in Canada in the year 2024 was the capital gains inclusion tax change. So announced in the 2024 federal budget, there's been lots of changes to the proposed capital gains inclusion rate for individuals, trusts, and corporations. So as of June 25th, 2024, not that long ago, anyone making about $250,000 and above on a sale of an asset has their inclusion tax changed from 50% to 66.7%. There's obviously a couple of delays, but still definitely will impact some investors looking to make sort of profit on any sort of assets or real estate in this case. So just some examples. So if we look at someone making $75,000 and they profit from a sale of a cottage, for example, 100 grand. So after paying real estate fees and closing costs, So 50% of that profit is going to be taxable, about 50 grand added to your income. So if we look at this extrapolation, so you're looking at about 125 grand in that case. So pertaining to this situation and understanding these implications can empower you to make informed financial decisions and plan for your future effectively. So based on the budget that has passed, all corporations and trusts will increase the 66.67% up to 50%. So quite a substantial increase on anyone making $250,000 and above. So for individuals making over 250,000, the inclusion rate would be that percentage. And for individuals under 250,000, the inclusion rate will remain at 50%. So how do we plan the future as Canadians? So realizing the existing capital gains before the 25th of June is critical. And then completing pending transactions before that deadline, reviewing capital assets held in trusts or corporations, and then staying the course with long-term unrealized assets. Analyzing the time and value of money for tax payment decisions, and also reviewing your residency requirements for optimizing your tax situation. So how do we compare to our brothers down south? So US citizen, for example, or green card holder in Canada can face a total tax rate of approximately 39% of capital gains. So Canadian, US federal, or US net investment tax. So leaving Canada can become, a bit of a challenge. So becoming a non-resident in a non-income tax state could definitely provide you with better results. So example, as you can see here, taxes are only 24%. But when you leave, Canada imposes a departure tax on individuals ceasing residency of some sort, subjecting to a certain capital gain amount. Some other pieces when it comes to US net investment income tax. So US citizens and green card holders in Canada are subject to US federal tax on capital gains, and capital assets held for 1 year or longer have a maximum US tax rate of 20%. Capital gains taxes can be claimed as a foreign tax credit to reduce or eliminate your federal income tax. So in summary, capital gains tax impacts cross-border investment decisions, and it's best to get the proper tax advice from a cross-border accountant so that you can optimize your Canadian and US tax situation. So just some data pertaining to immigration from Canada to the US. So the federal government ultimately wants to increase the number of permanent residents. So in the last probably 2 years, we've had a lot of immigration. So in this case, having a lot of permanent residents of about 500,000 by 2025. Lots of different reasons why, lots of mass retirements, still job shortage in certain occupations that are really looking at the government of Canada, in this case, the Liberal Party, in order to bring in twice as many as they did since 2015. So that's going to be impacting a lot of new house builds in Canada. So essentially, that an estimated 3.5 million houses and units beyond what we project are needing to be built as usual. So essentially, that's going to leave a big hole in terms of bringing 500,000 people and doubling our immigration in 2015. It really impacted affordability for housing in Canada. So with that has come a bit of reach by our tax system and as well as federal budget in order to stop speculation in the Canadian housing market. A series of taxation pieces come aboard. So for example, the capital gains piece, the unused housing tax, and then also a myriad of different provincial regulations have come aboard, especially with Airbnb in provinces such as Quebec, Ontario, and British Columbia. So as you can see here, emigration back to trend after the pandemic, for example. So as you can see here, between 2018 and 2023, number of people for every quarter have essentially left Canada, with new of upwards of 500,000 people per year coming in. So we're seeing a lot of that level out, especially with affordability being difficult, especially in the real estate sector, and not keeping up with mass immigration, in addition to individuals leaving Canada for whatever reason. So just some trends. So in the first 6 months of 2023, 42,000 people have left Canada. And this adds to about 93,818 people who have left between 2022 and exits in 2021. And the rate of immigration levels have hit a 2-decade high in 2019. So this really gives you an example of some statistics. This is not a new trend. It's really been here since probably the year 2017, where we've seen a net loss of a lot of citizens leaving, and then trying to recoup a lot of that through immigration, through the permanent residency program since probably after the pandemic has ended. So now to some probably better news. You want to look at different jurisdictions in order to purchase in. So a couple of different places that Canadians are looking at is Florida. As you can see, there's a big Quebecois community in Florida, as well as everywhere around the world. Florida is very desirable for its diverse housing options. Arizona, quite dry, mild, especially for those Alberta-based individuals that are looking at Sedona or Monument Valley to lower their costs in the state of Arizona. California is definitely one of those as well. So diverse lifestyle with access to ocean, mountains, and forests. Probably California's got the 8th largest economy in the world. So there's a very diversified economy, probably just as big as other countries combined. Probably one thing that we've never thought is really Louisiana. So it's for its Southern culture, French influence. So again, another French Canada influence. Lower cost of living, favorable property tax system has left its appeal with Canadians looking to Louisiana as an option. Montana, close to British Columbia and Alberta. So lots of nature enthusiasts for abundant outdoor activities, skiing, fishing, and hunting. So definitely an outdoor escape for a lot of individuals. South Carolina, lots of good golfing, beaches as well, near Georgia. So wonderful in terms of its rich history and showcasing museums and plantations. So where do Canadians go? So as you can see, it's California, Florida, New York, or Texas. Critical in terms of identifying which spot that you want to be in. So specific counties in these certain states: Los Angeles County, very natural; Orange County, Maricopa County in Arizona, King County in Washington, especially near British Columbia, and then Broward County. So combined, these 5 counties are home to approximately 13% of all immigrants currently living in the United States. So which cities are most popular for tourists? So if you're just looking for vacation means, Orlando, Las Vegas is a wonderful place to go for your weekend getaways. If you're looking for a nice winter getaway from Toronto in the minus 10 degrees Celsius, Miami, Los Angeles, San Fran. And if you're looking for a New Year's getaway, definitely New York, New York. So now off to probably one of our biggest passions is the U.S. mortgage overview here at American Mortgages. So just a little bit of review of our programs. No U.S. credit required. No need for assets under administration. Foreign income is allowed through an income letter. Loan programs in all 50 states. Up to 75% loan to value for foreign nationals looking for purchases. And then if you are living in Canada wanting to purchase back in the US, so 80% LTV or loan to value for expats. Loan approvals are in 72 hours. Contact us. We'll have a letter ready for you if you're looking for a pre-approval or a conditional approval based on a refinance application. We can definitely close in 30 to 45 days. Probably one of the biggest pieces, can you sign closing documents in major countries? So we'll get into that a little bit later in terms of what that process will look like. So we can definitely look at purchasing properties, refinance, and if you're looking for an equity release, 30-year amortization regardless of age, 10-year interest only for keeping your rental yields high, and then loan programs without income is available. And 97% of all of our loan applications that are submitted are approved. So some of our programs in just as a highlight there. So the AM rental coverage program, 30 to 45 days closing, as we alluded to, no US credit or residency required. So we qualify only on the property's projected rental income. So again, if we look at the example below, $2,400, $2,400 in expenses to qualify. The AM student program. So student tenant, not required to have income, but we can definitely get you approved to help your child's credit and available between 150 to 3 million bucks. AM investors, so 30 to 45 days. So we can use for income, but tax returns are not required. So we qualify using an income letter from an employer or accountant. Loan amounts from 150 to $3 million is available. And again, a 30-year fixed interest only program is available and up to 75% financing for foreign nationals. So if we look at a debt to income ratio, 43% of that. So if we look at a gross income of 10 grand, and if we look at your mortgage payment, taxes, and insurance at $4,300, we definitely can look at that ratio of 43%, which is fantastic. So if you're a US citizen living in Canada and wanting to purchase in the States, so again, same DTI or debt to income ratio at 43%, 2 years tax returns needed, a 680 FICO score is definitely required, and we qualify the same as if you were living and working in the US, and loan amounts differ a little bit between 3 to 5 million. So a high net worth program, so no personal income is needed, no assets under administration required. So essentially, that financial institution doesn't need the $5 million portfolio in order to exist on their balance sheet. So you can just, in order to confirm it, we'll just need to confirm a 2-month average liquidity of your portfolio in order to qualify. So the methodology below, so if we look at 5 million divided by the 60-month fixed term, you'll be able to have that mortgage payment at 80,000 and the income generated at $83,333. So a little bit of our contact information here. As you can see, our headquarters in the US and in Singapore, and with our global mortgage group, our office there. So everybody, so thank you very much for taking part in our presentation. So we'll just go to a questions and answer period. So it looks like we have a couple of questions that have popped up. So can I register a property in a Canadian company or an American LLC? So you want to make sure that you're looking at registering an American LLC. So you can go to our website at americanmortgages.com on the concierge tab. You'll be able to have directions to register a limited liability company. So essentially, that removes any sort of liability from you held personally. So if you register a company name onto a property in the United States, you'll be able to remove any sort of personal liability. Also, please go to a tax accountant in order to make sure that you do net benefit within your home country in terms of the taxation side. So second question, what's the best way to get my application started? So at the end of this presentation, we can definitely look at sending out some details in order to start your application. So we do have a wonderful new dashboard that we've launched about in the last 6 weeks, where you can start your application from the comfort of your own home rather than sending emails. So you can log in to apply.americanmortgages.com/Kyle-Mazuchin, register, you'll be able to do your application and send your documents directly to our online portal and have immediate updates. So how easy, another question here, so how easy is it to transfer cash into US dollars? So we've teamed up with, on our concierge tab, you can definitely go to one of our partnerships and vendors. You'll be able to transfer cash with relative ease and transfer from Canadian to American dollars. So we'll definitely have some information through our website on our concierge tab. So I think we might have answered this other question here in terms of how to register an LLC. So you can register through our website again at americanmortgages.com/concierge tab in order to look at getting your LLC started. It's very, very inexpensive in order to do that. Under $150 US, you'll be able to do that. So can I complete my US purchase without leaving Canada? Great question, very common. So if you have the ability to go to your local notary, and if they have something called an apostille stamp, essentially it's a service where a lawyer is able to witness other documents from other countries, and it's legal there. So you can have your lawyer or notary be able to use that stamp from Canada, and then you send the documents back over courier, and you'll be able to get your mortgage funded without the need of going to the US. And another way is going to the local US embassy in order to set an appointment. Some drawbacks is that it could take a couple months in order for you to get an appointment. So you just may want to look at both different options, okay? So I'm a Canadian looking to buy a vacation home in the United States, and what are the rates? So your rates will be different from having an established credit score in the United States or not. So normal for your down payment, you'll be looking at least 25% down payment based on our income letter program. And interest rates will probably range between probably the high 7s to about mid-8s, just dependent on state and location. So can I get an insurance quote through American Mortgages? Yes, you can. We alluded to that. So please go to our website at americanmortgages.com/ on our concierge tab in order to get an insurance quote through our website. So another question, I'm purchasing a foreclosed property. Can I get financing? So great question. So most of the time there's needed to be a bit of a cash purchasing situation. So you'll need to go through a bit of an auction process. So they may allow it, but in order to have a more competitive situation, I would recommend that you have a cash in place, purchase it, and then maybe do a refinance at a later date, because you may want to look at the condition of the property, get your inspections done, and then have an improved property. And if you're looking at improving the property as well, we do have products as well that we can kind of look at as an option for you to rehabilitate the property. So what's the maximum loan to value for investors, and is it income dependent? So the maximum loan to value for purchasing is a 75% loan to value, and it can be differed depending on a couple of items, such as if you want to qualify with your income in Canada with the income letter, we can definitely do that. Or we do definitely have some other options for you based on debt servicing or DSCR or projected rental income, but that could come at a slightly lower loan to value. So definitely there is a recording that will be sent out over the next little while. So probably be out in the next 10 to 14 days, posted on YouTube and all of our socials. So which of the states you highlighted are the most popular for Canadians to own? So it definitely happens in two different ways. So investors are looking at Ohio, Illinois, probably in Southern Ontario. A lot of individuals that are living down there are looking at the adjacent states. So New York, Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, kind of in the bit of the belt of North America near the Great Lakes. So a lot of individuals down in that area of the world are looking at those particular states. For retirees, for secondary homes, you can definitely know that retirees are looking at warmer states. So particularly Florida is definitely a big option for lots of different communities down there. A very big Quebecois community in areas of Florida. Lots of Canadians that are down there are also realtors. So if you're looking at purchasing in Florida, we do have some Canadian contacts available to you in those states. Some other popular options from Western Canada, so Alberta, lots of individuals like to purchase in Texas. We do have some relationships with some developers in Texas. So if you're looking at a brand new home, for example, pay attention to our newsletters that go out probably every other day pertaining to real estate topics or themes and trends within different states. Another option is Arizona. Arizona is a wonderful option for Western Canadians looking at purchasing property, and also Nevada. And Nevada is definitely popular with kind of Airbnb, transient zone properties, inclusive, obviously, Florida and California. So we have another individual here, the 1031 exchange. So you can delay capital gains taxes in the US by using it for a like or more expensive property. So you want to make sure that whatever you sold is of same value or higher in order to take advantage of the 1031 exchange. If you're looking at those different options, I highly do recommend that you go to a tax professional or a cross-border accountant. If you need any sort of options for cross-border, I do have individuals available. And also you can go to our website at americanmortgages.com on the concierge section, and you can have somebody reach out to you from our tax consultancy partner. Are there age restrictions for retirees applying for a mortgage? So again, none whatsoever. Fantastic. Very little in terms of risk for anyone who feels that they want to diversify their assets without the need of having any sort of age restrictions. So our other question, how long would it take to get a mortgage approval for investors with American Mortgages? So again, 72 hours is our golden rule. We want to make sure that there's a little bit of time in looking at different, if you have like a specific corporate setup, we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and asking our lenders. So the more complex situation that you may have, we want to make sure that we're asking the right questions. But for very straightforward applications, 72 hours is our golden rule in getting back to you with a conditional approval. So another question. So look, got a bit of a three-packer here. So question one, does an LLC subject to double tax? So again, highly recommend that you go to a tax professional within the country that you're in, or go to our website at americanmortgages.com on the concierge section. Or if you would like somebody from the Canadian side who's dual license, please let me know. But definitely there are tax structures specifically for Canadians. I would just recommend that if your financial picture allows it, I would recommend that you go speak to somebody on that side. Is remote online notary not available, and other companies offer that? Again, I just think that in order to keep the process standardized and straightforward, different states do different things. So in order to kind of keep compliant with a lot of the complex situations per state, I'd recommend using the apostille step method with any sort of Canadian notary or lawyer. Okay. And then 3, is a HELOC available for liquidity? As a foreign national, and if you don't have tax residency, the product is not available. So just to kind of reinforce that. Some other questions. So are interest rates better if you qualify with income letter instead of DSCR? Again, this is probably from a lender to lender piece. So different lenders will have different specials. Definitely when it comes to having established credit in the United States, definitely you will look at getting a slightly better option, also increasing your down payment. So that kind of 40% mark, you'll definitely get a break in your interest rates. So another question here, if I have a property generating a cash flow of $2,500, how much loan can I get? So it's a little bit complex than that. So I would recommend, again, speaking to one of our loan officers, inclusive of myself. So I do have my Calendly link within the chat. So please go there, click on it, and then see what my availability is, and maybe we can chat in order to see how much of that $2,500 we can help you get a loan against a property. So is American Mortgage a broker or a lender? So American Mortgages essentially helps with getting financing in that situation. So we definitely can provide you with a lot of myriad of different options in order to make sure that we're able to place the right loan with the right situation that you may have. Okay, so we're about 5:35. So again, if you're looking at any sort of situation when it comes to getting pre-approved for future purchase, please contact us. My Calendly link and contact information will be in our chat and future correspondence out to everyone who has been on this particular webinar. A little bit of more of an update just with the most recent changes to the capital gains inclusion tax. So again, we just want to make sure that everyone in Canada has an option when they're purchasing properties in the United States, whether it be a secondary property or a revenue property in all jurisdictions across the United States. So as you can see there, just click on the link within the chat. I highly recommend that you book with us in order to explore a lot of our loan programs in all different states. And if there's any question, we are readily available 24/7, 365 days. If you want to talk on Christmas Day, some people are available, but we got to wait till Santa leaves a particular area in order to be available. So again, everybody. So that's our presentation for today. If there's any other further questions, please go and put a question in our chat, or you can contact us at any time at kyle.mazuchin@americamortgages.com. Like, follow, and subscribe to all of our socials. Definitely, we do a lot of different social media posts every other day with our wonderful co-founders, Robert Chadwick, as well as Donald Clip, with their wonderful posts and with Global Mortgage Group and American Mortgages. So that's it for us for today. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.